Alright guys, so as you just saw, I ordered a few items, Astro stuff, and this will be a big upgrade for my Astro gear. Okay guys, so that's the stuff, let's unbox. I have to start with this one. Wow, crazy. Nice box. Ooh. Wow. Huh. Okay, here's a screw inside. I don't know. Let's see. Wow. What a machine. And it's so heavy. It's really, really heavy. Wow, 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 wow. I think you can already see it. It's a 90mm APO. It's a triplet APO. What a machine! Wow! Wow, crazy. Okay, I think I will first unpack everything and then I will maybe take a closer look at this one. So, wow, crazy. I think that's a quite nice start. So that's the Batinov mask, and here I have some screws. Wow, very good. Maybe you will ask, what is this and what is this? So let's check out. As you can see, I bought a APO, a 90mm triplet APO, and Skywatcher EQ5 mount. Wow, crazy. It's a go-to mount. Alrighty. So here's the hand controller. Here we have some additional cables, so for power supply and for the hand controller. We have a tool here. And what else? We have the dovetail plate. Very nice. And we have the main part, of course. The mounting head. Okay, some screws here. This thing is super heavy. It should be super heavy. That's a good thing. Wow. Did I say EQ5? It's an EQ5 Pro, of course, with a go-to function and so on. Everything. Everything. Then I think you already know what this is, right? It's a tripod. We have a plate here. That's an extension tube. It's a 2-inch extension tube. That's a 2-inch adapter. Yeah, and wow, crazy. Okay, so this is what I would call a heavy-duty tripod stand mount thing. Wow. What's this one? And what is this? Yeah. Yes. Counterweight number 1. Counterweight number 2. That's a 2-inch to T2 adapter. And this one is the 2-inch extension tube. That was a gift. Okay, so now I would say I will try to set up all the things and yeah, to build it together, and let's try it. Of course I watched a YouTube video before and I know, so this here, this leg is facing north, and now here you have kind of nose, let's say, and you have those screws, and it's important first to lose it, otherwise you can damage the nose here. So this I know. This thing is so heavy. This is the nose, I mean, so... Alright. So you screw this here. Before you start doing this, you should balance your tripod. So this is just for training for myself, and I'm not using it at the moment, unfortunately. Did I already say that we have some clouds this night? Of course. So unfortunately I cannot try today, but yeah, I will try next time. You should also tighten this here, this screw. This is just for really stretching the legs, let's say. Okay, yeah. Seems to be quite solid, I would say. Okay, and then you have those screws here, here and here. This one. This one. And both screws, so this one and this one, should have the same distance here. Using those screws you can polar align and so on. So tighten this again, okay. Alright, okay, so here, under here, you have the scope, the polar scope, and here you have a cap. You can remove the cap, like this. And yeah, and this you use to look here, like through, and this is facing north, this side now. Yeah, and you use a polar scope to, yeah, for polar alignment. What you should do first before you mount your telescope to your mount, you should really set up all the counterweights and so on. So you unscrew this security screw. All right. think that's tight enough. It's secure. Ta-da! Wow. Crazy. And I would say now it's well balanced here in this position. As you can see, stays the same. This is very good. Alright, so I would say this is very well balanced now. Hi guys, so now you know what I bought. So my new telescope, it's a refractor, it's a 90mm refractor, and I also bought a mount. It's a EQ5 Pro, Skywatcher EQ5 Pro mount. And yeah, so I just want to talk a little bit why I bought this one and why I bought the mount and why an additional telescope. I have to say, for a long time I did astrophotography only using my DSLR camera, my Canon EOS M50 camera, and later I also bought a Skywatcher Star Adventurer, so a star tracker, and I was very happy with it, and I'm still using it, of course. And yeah, this is one thing. And then later I bought my Maksutov, my 127 Maksutov telescope with 1500mm focal length. So a very, very high magnification. And it's a f12 telescope, so it's quite slow, I would say. And this Maksutov telescope is excellent for planetary images and also for moon and so on. So very nice telescope. But as I also showed in another video, it's also possible to do at least partly deep sky object imaging using this Maksutov telescope with its quite high focal length. And I already showed this in this video, and I captured M27, the Dumble Nebula, and it worked very well. So I was very happy, and especially for the short total integration time, I would say. So very nice. But the downside, however, using this Maksutov telescope is its high focal length, and the other thing is it has an Alt-S mount. And I already talked about this Alt-S mount and the implications for long exposure astrophotography. Maybe check out this video to get more information about this. So in principle, it's possible also to do deep sky imaging using this telescope, but it's quite limited to, let's say, quite bright and quite small appearing deep sky objects, let's say. And so, for example, using this telescope, as I said before, you can do excellent planetary and moon images, but you cannot fit the whole Orion Nebula or Andromeda galaxy and so on. However, as I showed in another video, or my last video, you can really do nice images of the core of M31 Andromeda galaxy, for example, which is a very big appearing deep sky object. So all in all, I'm very happy with this Maksutov telescope, and I will for sure use it in the future. So I'm very happy with this telescope. So, but let's speak about my new telescope. It's a refractor telescope. It's a APO. It's a 90mm APO with 540mm focal length. So compared to this, with 1500mm focal length versus 540mm without a reducer, it's more quite a wide field telescope, I would say. You will have not such a high magnification, which is very good if you want to capture bigger regions of the night sky, let's say. And I will also additionally buy a focal reducer, and yeah, but there are some delivery times and so on, so I have to wait for this. And this will reduce the focal length to a factor of 0.8 fold, the focal length, and yeah. But why did I buy this one? It's a quite new model from telescope service, and here I have a FPL 55 glass, and from the optical properties it's comparable to the excellent FPL 53 glass. That means it has a very low chromatic aberration, and if you don't know what chromatic aberration is, every color has a different wavelength, and the chromatic aberration is the failure of a lens to really focus all different wavelengths to one point or one spot. So it cannot focus all wavelengths in the same spot, let's say. And this is very interesting, but if you have not just one lens, but two, you can do a kind of correction. And if you use more lenses, for example 3, like this one, it's called a triplet, then you can really reduce this chromatic aberration to a minimum. And there are also refractors with 4 or even 5 lenses, and they can further decrease this chromatic aberration. But all in all, this one has excellent optical capabilities, and yeah, I'm very happy about this. And yeah, now I want to speak about the 90mm, and there are also, I think, 70, 80, 90 and 103mm versions, let's say. And yeah, so why did I decide to buy a 90mm? First, for a couple of months, I really thought about buying the same telescope, but with 70mm. So why this? Since I still want to use my star tracker, my Skywatcher Star Adventurer, here I can use the 70mm version since it's not so heavy. And this is very nice. So the telescope itself, the 70mm, is not so heavy, and it still fits on my star tracker. But this one, actually it's too heavy for my Skywatcher Star Adventure. Yeah, and that's a downside, I would say. So that's why I thought, should I use the 70mm or the 90mm? And yeah, as you can see, I decided for the bigger one because I thought, yeah, I want to have some nice images, and here with the 90mm aperture, I have higher, let's say, light collecting capabilities, and that's why I decided for this one. This also led to the fact that I have to buy a mount. For me, it was clear that I will buy a German equatorial mount, also called the parallactic mount. Yeah, and I decided between the Skywatcher EQ6 Pro mount, also with Go-To function, and the EQ5 Pro mount with Go-To function. Yeah. First I thought maybe the EQ6 is more, maybe I can do more with it in the future, but the downside was it's very, very heavy. It's a very heavy mount. I mean, this EQ5 Pro mount, which I decided to buy, in the end is already quite heavy. But not such a monster, I would say. So the EQ5 Pro mount, which I decided to buy, as you can see here, has a lower capacity when it comes to weight compared to the EQ6 R.
Pro mount, but I think it's still very nice also for the future and also for bigger telescope. So maybe at some point I will potentially also have a reflector telescope, and yeah, I think this mount is still able to handle this, and yeah, not just my APO, but also I think I can work with it in the future. And yeah, and I didn't want to have such a heavy monster like the EQ6 Pro mount, which is also an excellent mount, no question about this, but I think this is a very nice combination, and I'm ready also for the future as well. Yeah, so that's my new baby. That's a Skywatcher EQ5 Pro mount with SynCat and Go-To function, and my apochromatic refractor with FPL 55 glass, 90mm aperture, and 540mm focal length. And I'm still waiting for the 0.8 volt reducer and corrector, and yeah, I already ordered it, but there are some delivery times, and maybe you know the problem. I cannot wait to really try this this new telescope, but at the moment it looks not very good with regard to the weather. So now we had at least 10 days or 14 days only clouds, and I think there will be 1 week more of clouds. So yeah, let's see. I cannot wait. And of course, I will also do videos using my Maksutov in the future, so I will use both of them. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and stay tuned. I will definitely do some videos in the future, of course, and not just using my APO, my new APO, but also using my Maksutov telescope. So don't miss it, and yeah. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Clear skies.